There we go. We are live. Of course, if you're watching us live, that means it's Wednesday at noon Eastern Time, which is always time for the High Noon Hemp Show, at least for the last almost 7 years. You set your clocks, your calendars, your watches by this show. Thank you for spreading the hemp infotainment and whatnot. You can see us in various places. Of course, if you're on Facebook, check out the Temptation Speech Facebook page. If you're on YouTube, it's the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel. And if you're on X, or if you still call it Twitter, check out @Hemptations. It's all awesome. Of course, the podcast is back as well. Search the High Noon Hemp Show on Podbean, iHeartRadio, and Spotify and whatnot to check us out. Find classic episodes. I'm adding more when I can. It is awesome as well. It's all awesome. And for more awesomeness, well, it's the High Noon Hemp Show. I'm Stoner Jesus, of course. I do various things on the interwebs. He is Beach at the new Temptations location. Bam! It's right there. Bam! He is Beach. Beach, how are things this week in the world of Temptations?
Oh, you chugging along, I suppose. We're chugging along in the hemp world. Um, Remember, folks, the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy. Welcome to the High Noon Hemp Show, everybody. Stoner, do you know what today is?
Ah, it's something I can't get a grasp on. You tell me every week, and I feel like I should know this whenever you ask me it. But I have a feeling you're going to tell me right now what day is it, Beach.
Hemp Day! That's right, it's Wednesday, it's high noon, it's Hemp Day! All right. Welcome, everybody, to the High Noon Hemp Show. Before we get started, let's go ahead and put our peace signs on our hemp and do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil in which it is planted, one seed under the sun, with responsibility, sustainability, and thrivability for all. There you have it. Well, I am here. I am here at the Flower Factory Hemptations new location, Planet Everywhere Studios, because it can be anywhere. It's true. I believe I sent over a picture of a big old bud. This is actually, okay, so the hemp farm is Emissary Hemp Workshop. This was grown. I got the pleasure of cutting this and hanging it. That was my part in the farming part of this flower. This is sour RNA, 15.7% CBD, less than 0.3% THC. In fact, it came in even under, I believe, 0.2%, if I remember hearing the numbers. Again, this is brought to you by the Flower Factory and Emissary Hemp Workshop. So soon to be in the stores. Still needs to be legally processed and packaged. That's a whole nother step in Ohio, and then we'll have it out there for you to try. There's the demand for CBD flower has gone down, but it's still out there. I still think it's a really good way, or one of the best ways, to get it into your system. It's instantly into the system. If you ingest it by smoking it, you don't have to hold that smoke in your lungs. That's a common myth. Those cannabinoids are into the bloodstream almost instantaneously when they hit your lungs. And so, the smoke is the transition that carries the small bits that then are absorbed. And once again, it happens very quickly. You benefit very little by holding that in your lungs, either way. And that's whether it's vape or smoke. And of course, disclaimer, modern, medical disclaimer, yes, our lungs were not meant to have smoke in them, so to say. That's not their design. But it's yet to be proven medically that cannabis smoke is harmful to the lungs. So that is what it is. So that's the local stuff going on. That's just the local stuff going on. We do have a lot of CBD in the show today for some reason or another. It just there's a lot of stuff that seemed to pop up CBD wise. So it's a very good. It's very appropriate to show our locally grown. They're locally grown. I'm a mere farmer helper. With the Emissary Hemp Workshop and the Flower Factory. So, all right, well, let's just go ahead and get on to the product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from my door, and today a little more because these first couple products I actually did list on eBay. And so what I did was, and this is our D8, and I put both our D8s on there, so we have the 300 milligram or the 900 milligram tincture on eBay. You can either go and search for all my products at ERB Son of Ma down there at the bottom of the screen, scrolling now, or you can actually go to hemptations.com and you go to our products page, and I actually put a link directly to this product. And so you hit that link. If you want the 300 milligram, you hit that link, and it'll take you straight to that eBay auction. This is what I'm going to start doing with all the products that I list on eBay. I don't know why I did. This just hit me to do this now. And so I have also listed our CBD. I've got our 300, our 600, and our 900. So again, available locally, or once again, go to hemptations.com, go to the products page, hit the link associated with whichever one you're interested in, and it will take you directly to that eBay, not auction. It's a buy it now. So it's, I guess you could call it my eBay store, even though I have not actually set it up as a eBay store. So there you have it. For those are the ones on eBay. We still have a couple more. I take that back. I decided to go ahead and show the Splaff sandals again. We are, I suppose, dead right in the middle of sandal season right now. So if you're looking for a pair, we have the blacks in a lot of sizes. And we also have natural also in quite a bit of sizes. So check those out. And I did list some of those on the eBay, at eBay. And so I don't have those links yet at hemptations.com, but I do have, but you can once again go search that ERB Son of Ma at eBay, you'll see it coming up here scrolling across the bottom. Now, I'm not sure that we might have to change that. I don't know that we actually are on planeteverywhere.com anymore as the retail spot, so we might have to. But eBay is where to go to find it if you need it one way or another. And you can also email me. I put our email address on the website, temptations@me.com, and you can email me orders as well. All right. And the last one is kind of a more than one in the picture, but these are kind of the small bags. I've been we're about halfway through moving everything into the new location, but I'm pretty sure I think I got this box over here and some of these out on the shelf, ready to be purchased at the new locations, 3844 Spring Grove Avenue. We are in the Flower Factory store. All right, so there you have it. 4 from the store. The one from my door is one I've been using a little bit more. Maybe I might even wear it on the next segment of the show at some point or another. But this is just basically one of my headbands. I feel very weird not having something on my head, but in the summer, I also like to just put my hair into a little ponytail. And so it's nice to just have this on there, just kind of like, I don't know, it's a psychological thing for me, I suppose. I truly feel naked. If I was naked with a hat on, I wouldn't feel naked. No.
That's a picture for the folks at home.
Sorry about that. Because nobody wants to see that. There is no one clicking on for that. It's not the "you're not wearing anything, are you, Beach" segment.
That's right. That's right.
But
That's right.
I am very much a hat person. As you may or may not know, I hold the hemp hat world record. I wore a different hemp hat every day for 168 days. So
That's right.
I'm definitely a hat person. All right. Speaking of hats, how about what is today's hat? I wonder.
Indeed. Everybody's wondering. Everybody's wondering about all of it because many people, they come, the masses come here for the greatest segment in internet history. I don't have any certification for that. That's fine. It doesn't matter. I say it. You can't prove me wrong. That means it's true. It's on the internet. This is the greatest segment of all time on the internet. Thank you. It's also the segment where we like to highlight a little organization known as the Guinness World Records. Beach, of course, referenced the record, the hat record that he has set and holds. He has set and held and holds many other hemp records, all of which also uncertified, unrecognized, uncared about by the Guinness World Records. But what does the Guinness World Records organization care about instead of hemp and hemp records? Well, today on their X, and I had to go look up what this was. Social media chefs team up to cook the largest Scotch egg that's heavier than a bowling ball. For those of you who don't know what a Scotch egg is, I had to go look it up. Really, it's an egg wrapped in sausage meat, and then they wrap the sausage meat in breadcrumbs, and then they deep fry it. And that is a Scotch egg. So if that's your thing, it's probably pretty good. But I don't know if it's better than, say, Beach's hemp T-shirt record or his hat record or any of that. But I guess, we're not, those guys get a cool plaque and everything, and they get to eat this massive bowling ball-sized Scotch egg while we sit here unrecognized. But that's fine. That's fine. Because every show from 7 years, we have chronicled Beach's massive hemp clothing collection in the Beachwear segment. All I have to do, and all you have to do if you ever meet Beach in person or out anywhere to get him to talk about his outfit is ask him one simple question, which is, what are you wearing, Beach?
That's right. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you will know. It's mostly black. If you like to wear mostly black, there's a lot of people that wear black head to toe almost every day. This outfit fits in almost really well.
Oh.
On top there, I've got a No Bad Ideas hat. My shirt is a Young Maven Hemptations University tee. My shorts are from a company called Lackhaze, and I don't know much about them. I believe I might have found these on eBay way back in the day. I don't know. They are one of my favorite summer shorts. I do summer shorts. All my shorts are summer shorts. I don't know.
Opposed to your winter shorts.
I mean, opposed to my winter shorts. And underneath that is a pair of head case boxers. Beside those boxers there in the picture are my Hemp Traders no shows. And then on the feet there is a good old pair of Adidas Sambas. And again, I think this was the second week in a row, and this is just because I'm moving and all this stuff, and I'm not sure where it is. I am missing my pen in my pocket, but you can picture it there.
That's right.
If you've seen it like 300 other times in my pocket on the show, you know that's where it goes.
That's right. Just imagine it there.
Just imagine it there. So anyway, here we have it. There we have it. If you're wondering, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know. All right, so I think I went pretty far back with today's selection for a commercial. So let's check out this classic commercial, and then we'll be back with the news.
Come on.
Hemptations celebrates our anniversary with a store-wide sale. Get into Hemptations between September 1st and Labor Day and let us reward you for being so great to us for 20 years plus. Everything for 20% off or higher. Hemptations has the largest selection of hemp and a great selection of vapes and such. All because of you, the customer. Get into any one of the locations and save September 1st through Labor Day. All the info at hemptations.com. Having Hemptations for 20 years.
Classic.
I apologize, though. That was not the classic commercial that I thought I was going to play. I try to save those anniversary commercials for around the anniversary, which is actually September 1st. This September 1st will be 30 years of having Hemptations.
Right.
Amazing. So, anyway, here we go. Let's get on with the news. This chart I want to show, and I think I might have shown this chart before. I want to thank Richard Rose for this. Richard Rose was basically the originator of hemp seed foods in the United States. In the shortly after he was existing, right when we were opening, and I have shown it on the show somewhere. I have an original hemp nut jar from when we used to sell those products. This is a timeline. This is kind of an interesting timeline. It's kind of a history of the hemp seed industry in the United States, modern hemp seed industry in the United States. And, early, as you can see early in the chart, there's kind of a spike. And that spike, and I remember this, and Richard was probably the person that originally told me about the fact that exotic hemp bird feed had hemp seed in it. And so sterilized hemp seed was legal in the United States. And I went to the pet store. I remember we were in a pet store, and I went and looked, and I could see the hemp seed in there. And then it disappeared because of the DEA threatening any hemp food industry, every hemp food industry, where it drops there, and you can see the about 4-year battle that it took from the time the DEA started threatening. They were sending threatening letters to Whole Foods and all the grocery stores saying if you did not take your hemp foods off the shelf, they were going to come in. The DEA was going to come in and seize those food products. All because they didn't say 0% THC, which you didn't have to say. There is no THC in there, but you couldn't claim that necessarily. There are no studies that would say that. And then again, as far as parts per million, because there might have been parts per million of THC, which is why you can't make a 0% THC claim. There might be parts per million. All right. And I used to say this a lot. If you knew what parts per million of things that are allowed in the food, you surely would not be worried about parts per million of THC. And so, the HIA battled it out with the DEA. We won. And that what winning was, the courts declared that, and it's called the source law. So if you know anything about it, it's the source law. If the source of the product was hemp, it was 100% legal. And everything was imported at the time, just so you know. We weren't growing hemp in the United States then. So this was not, we've settled the debate of the difference between hemp and marijuana now. Marijuana, I call it. It's all cannabis. Marijuana is their name for high THC cannabis. And that says if it comes from marijuana, even if you, at the time, from this judge's ruling, if you made a pair of jeans from a marijuana plant, they would be technically classified as marijuana and illegal. But once again, you make those jeans out of hemp, the hemp plant is totally legal. And the most interesting thing about all of this, okay, is the fact that, once again, we had to import all the hemp. So we really didn't know. There would be no way to verify a THC level of the hemp being grown in China for material. We wouldn't know a THC content of the plant, the Canadian hemp seed plants, because we import, and Canada grows the most hemp seed for food in the country or in the world. So we wouldn't have known any of those things anyway. I mean, the only reason we know them now in the United States is because that's part of you have to have those plants tested to verify that they're 0.3% or less THC. And again, and I've said it at least 100 times on this show, it's absurd to care what the THC content is if you're going to make a material or use the fiber, if you're going to use the hurd, that shiv, the part that we use for the hempcrete and the animal bedding, or you're going to use the grain, the seed, for body products, foods, fuel for that matter. The THC content means nil to any of those. Doesn't make any difference. If you took the seeds of a 20% THC marijuana plant and you cleaned them and they do a high shake and this just gets all debris off of it regardless, and then tested those seeds, there's still not going to be any THC in them. There's no THC in the seed. And so, and then you see a kind of a spike. And there's some interesting spikes. Like there's a South Korean spike where all of a sudden, I guess the South Koreans really wanted hemp seed. And again, the nutritional value is insane. All countries should promote the growing and eating of hemp seed. It is the nutritional value is unprecedented. Honestly, it is on a very short list of vegetative matter to the vegans and the vegetarians, so to speak. Nutritionally wise, there's hardly anything better. It's higher in protein than some meats, by the way. And now we're starting to see kind of, we get some weird spikes, and it really kind of went, really well. And then you get some weird lows towards the end there. Hopefully more and more, once again, more and more food companies in the United States will start making hemp food products. And there's a multitude of hemp food products. That has always been the goal. I can't tell where this stopped in 2020. So, it would be interesting to see where we went from 2020, although that, who wants to remember 2020 and beyond? Ooh. But the hemp seed industry was doing pretty well. The hemp seed industry, and this is, I guess, Canada, and this is showing Canada's growth. I'm sorry, I don't know what I thought I was looking at, but of course it is. But this is, and again, Canada, supplies us with the majority of our hemp seed. All right, well, Mitch McConnell had a huge part in making hemp legal, taking hemp off the controlled substance list with the Agricultural Act of 2018. And now he is going to mess it all up. So, and again, this is what I do not understand. I really don't understand how they can include these things in spending bills. So this is a spending bill that's probably going to get passed, and it will make all THC hemp illegal. So I guess now we're going to put THC hemp back on the controlled substance list. Well, guess what? That's why we have the 0.3%. And so I don't understand. I don't understand how they can make THC hemp illegal when there's an allowable amount of THC in the hemp to begin with. This was the whole thing about getting it off the controlled substance list. Was, once again, we defined what hemp was in 2013 Farm Bill. The 2018 Farm Bill, by that definition, took the industrial hemp off the controlled substance list, so the DEA had no control over it anymore. But it allowed that 0.3% THC. We have to have a certain amount. All right, it's very difficult, and no one has done it yet, to breed a 0.00% THC flower. I mean, when you get to 0.1, 2, we're finding those. But I don't know how, to me, this is a spending bill redefining the definition of industrial hemp, which I would think would be part of, and I don't want to give them any ideas because I know they're already messing with the Farm Bill, where it's probably going to get delayed another year at this point because of the non-bipartisan whatever going on there, which is just, that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day. But I mean, I really do believe that only a Farm Bill has the right to change the definition of hemp, and we should not change the definition of it. We just leave it alone. I think that if the states want to work all this stuff out with whatever, then we leave it up to the states. And the smartest thing any state can do, and we're seeing this in most places, is to say, okay, we'll put an age restriction on these things. We'll put a product placement agreement on there, which means it's all going to be behind the counter. It's going to be locked in a case. It can't be just out on the shelf for any kid or any person to pick up. Something that only an adult could give them. More on that in a second. To begin with, and so if and that's, to me, those are the only logical things that a state can do. You do not want to lose this revenue. Leave it up to the adults to choose. That's fine. If you think that this stuff is harmful, yet to be proven, just so you know. But if you think that they're that harmful for kids or non-adults, even though 21 seems to be the age, and they're telling us we're an adult at 18, it's quite confusing. And so, those things are fine. But out-and-out bans, they don't work. Most of the time they are challenged, and it is what happens is that very thing is the fact that they find with consumerism laws say the states can't change the definition of industrial hemp. By saying this product from industrial hemp is illegal, but these products from industrial hemp are legal, that's actually anti-consumerism as well. That's usually where we end up winning when it comes to banning flower. If we can have CBD in all these other forms, then you can't say we can't have it in flower. That's the original form. It's so backwards to say, yeah, I can have this after it's processed and manipulated, but I can't have it in its purest natural form. It makes no sense logically, and it's just anti-consumerism to begin with, and that's usually how most states, it gets worked out in the courts that way, 9 times out of 10. The most interesting thing about this, all right, and this is the irony of saying, this is a safety thing for the people, is it doesn't even fully go into effect for a year. so, so they're trying to save us from this evil THC, but they're going to take their time to do it because guess what? It hasn't killed anybody in the thousands and thousands of years that we have been using it. Ever. Never killed anybody. No death certificates ever been signed saying that marijuana was the cause of death. Ever. But, you're going to take it away from us, adults, for our safety. But we're going to take our time to do it. And it's interesting because, again, they're saying they clearly say this, that they're waiting for this to go into effect so that all the farming can get worked out this year. They're not trying to. And so, again, it's like, we're going to allow you guys to grow this still. But come next year, don't plan on doing it. And I really do think it's probably one of those things, and I don't know how it all works with spending bills and passing and those type of things, but the inevitable question becomes, will this just scare off everybody? So even if this isn't legal or they don't really have the right to do this, they pass this, they get the word out there. Come spring next year, everybody's going to like, oh, well, we can't grow it. Even if they legally can. They're in their heads are going to be, we can't. And once again, if this is THC, this could be the entire industrial hemp farming in the United States. All of it. We'll go from 100,000. I don't know if we're back over 100,000 again. I think we dropped below 100,000 acres in the States. The boom came and then it dropped. But we're talking about every hemp farm in the United States not being allowed to grow next year under this. Because this is all THC hemp. And hemp has THC in it. It's crazy. Well, I've been warning everyone. That this was happening, but apparently now there is a war in St. Louis between the hemp industry, and the marijuana industry. I've been calling it. All those states where all those places are saying you shouldn't have your hemp, that's the marijuana industry going after the hemp industry. It's the most ridiculous thing in cannabis history ever. It's all cannabis. And we got lucky enough to be legal. And what I really... it is quite ironic because, again, as a hemp person, I'm a hemp person. There's millions of people out there that were fighting for marijuana, what they call marijuana, cannabis, to be federally legal. I have fought from day one. September 1st, and even before then, I was fighting for this, for the legalization of hemp. For our farmers. Somehow I won, which again, I never expected. I mean, every state was becoming legally for personal use. So, every state was becoming legal for medical. And then all of a sudden, we have legal industrial hemp. And in 2018, once again, taken off the controlled substance list. Now, have I always said, yes, all cannabis should be free for all humans to enjoy without repercussions or put age restrictions on it? Again, I realize the kid thing is an issue. Yes, I'm a full supporter of all that. But the fact that, again, consequently, for all its intent and purposes, hemp became legal. It is the more viable cannabis for the planet and products for all humans to benefit from. So it only makes sense that industrial hemp is legal, and is legal all over the globe. We were in the United States was the last industrial hemp, or the last industrial country to legalize, or I should say re-legalize, industrial hemp. They re-legalized it briefly during World War II, but then that went back away once the war was over. Check out Hemp for Victory, made by the government. It should be on YouTube. It's about 15, 20-minute little documentary where they literally re-legalized industrial hemp in the United States after making it illegal in the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937. And then when the war was over, they went back to the Marijuana Tax Act laws and said, you can't grow hemp anymore, even if you want to grow for rope. What was the threat of rope to society when the government was demanding it from the farmers for parachutes and all of these things for the war? But not good enough for the United States citizens after the war. We're not going to let you have the strongest natural fiber anymore. We're not going to allow you to have, and they weren't, I mean, the grain industry was only for reproduction of growing hemp. There was very little food as part of it. It was a fiber to be made into materials for the, about 98% probably. There may have been hemp farms that were smart enough to use that seed for food, but it just wasn't a thing. I mean, the nutritional value literally has just come around, thankfully to Richard Rose in this country, for that matter. I mean, he may be the single one human that started showing the nutritional value and why we should be eating this, only 30, 40 years ago. So that part is all very new. All very new. Well, Operation Safe Summer in Florida has now confiscated 85,000 packages of industrial hemp, because of how it was packaged. And so if it looks like it was meant to be sold to kids, they can take it. That's how their law is going. Once again, none of this stuff was being sold to kids. None of these products had been sold to kids. All right? These were products that were being sold from adults to adults. And they think they're doing something. They think they're saving the kids that weren't buying these products to begin with. This reminds me a lot of when the DEA used to show up in Minnesota. And every year this would make the national news. They would show them like just burning these massive piles of cannabis plants. DEA burning hundreds of acres or whatever, thousands of pounds of marijuana, and their justification. And it was literally industrial hemp that was growing wild. We called it ditchweed in Kentucky. And everybody in Kentucky knew about ditchweed. Kentucky was the largest grower of industrial hemp up until 1937. It was grown all over the state. Processing places, Lexington, northern Kentucky. And so, of course, we end up with ditchweed. And it's exactly where to look for it if you want to. It's all on the edges of all the fields that used to grow industrial hemp. You know, they might be growing corn in there, or tobacco in there, or soy in there now. But the hemp, you know, it would go to seed every year, drop the seed, and regrow itself the next year. Wild hemp, you know, what we called again ditchweed. And everybody knew it looked like hemp, or it looked like marijuana, smelled like marijuana. But guess what? Didn't get you high. Didn't get you high. You know, they may have calmed us all down and we didn't know it because it was maybe high in CBD or whatever. But there was no buzz. There was no buzz. You know, I think the biggest scam was going out and collecting it and then selling it to someone and then taking that money and going and buying some real cannabis with it. I never did that. I'm not saying it wasn't done. I never did that. But again, that was ditchweed. Still grows. I guarantee if you go to certain parts, if you didn't even try to look too hard. Of course, now it's different because we're growing hemp in Kentucky. But I don't think it would be too hard to still find ditchweed growing in various parts. I mean, I almost want to go back to the road that went back to our subdivision. We were about 10 miles out of town. That's where our farm was. And I remember seeing it growing like on the corner of one of the bends at some point when I was, you know, growing up. I was probably riding my bike into town. Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, it's crazy. Well, the governor of Texas, who just recently vetoed, rightfully so, one of the most, it would have shut down the industry, the hemp industry in Texas. But he's doubling down by calling hemp products lawful agricultural commodity. And that's exactly how to describe it. Lawful agricultural commodity. I love that. All right. And again, what he's saying there is he's realizing how important that commodity is to Texas and how everyone else in this country should realize how valuable that commodity is to their state. Ohio doesn't want hemp grown here because and when I say that, their fees are too high. The fact that you have to then, like I mentioned earlier, so when Emissary Hemp Workshop, in order, if they want to keep it in Ohio, in order to, they have to have it third party processed. Okay. Which really, I don't know if that just means the third party then has to package it, because all they're going to do is, you know, take it to the third party, and then they're going to package it. They're not going to change it. I mean, you know, maybe some of this will actually be made into tincture. You know, and that's a whole processor. But either way, it doesn't matter. They cannot legally in the state of Ohio, because the laws are so silly. They can't legally take this flower that they grew. The state tested it, came up with that less than 0.3%, and at that point, should just be legal. They should just be able to do whatever they want with it. Bag it up, sell it, press it, get the oil, whatever. But no, not in the state of Ohio. We have to pay an extra licensing fee to do that if you want to do it in-house. And it once again really holds back anyone in Ohio wanting to farm, because that licensing fee is too ridiculous. To process, we're never going to have, you know, large-scale processing in Ohio. Never. Not under these current hemp laws. It's just not going to happen. And again, it's ridiculous because it really makes it harder to get the products to the consumer. If you want to be Ohio proud, you know, unfortunately, you're much better off to just be Kentucky proud. because they treat it more like a lawful agricultural commodity. And that's why there's going to be, again, Kentucky's going to be one of the largest growers. I mean, apparently South Dakota is treating it like a lawful agricultural commodity because South Dakota is growing more hemp than any other state. And their governor was like super cannabis scary. And now they're growing more than any other state. And so, in states where they don't want to look at it as lawful agricultural commodity, they're just telling their farmers, if they really want to grow it, to go to another state. Don't grow it here. Which is going to send them back to their corn or soybean in this area, cotton in the South. We need you have to stop growing cotton from just now, or replace all that with hemp. Obviously that's in the South, not up here. Up here, the best thing to do would be to replace the soy, because hemp is higher in protein than soy. Plus, omega-6 and omega-3 essential fatty acids, vitamins and minerals. The macronutrients and the micronutrients in hemp are superior. All right. In Hawaii now, you have to have a license if you're going to be a hemp distributor or a hemp retailer. I know they were trying to really mess it up in Hawaii. So good for them for doing that, I suppose. It seems kind of silly, and I guess it's the best way for them to keep track of everybody selling these products. And so that's good. But they were really trying to take these products out of the tourists' hands, and the tourists love this stuff. And so, again, I don't understand why Hawaii, which to me, I believe, I can't imagine how much of Hawaii's revenue as a state is from tourism. But it has to be a lot. And when they started with this, they were wanting to ban these products in Hawaii. And again, they were mostly for tourists. That's what they were saying. That's what the state was saying. We shouldn't be providing these to tourists. And then all of a sudden they got a realization that, hey, this stuff is okay. And B, their tourists wanted it. And so why would they have retailers not? I mean, again, it's just kind of ridiculous. And so, making it so they have to have a license is all well and good. And it does beg the question, is that all hemp products? If I'm selling hemp clothing in my store, do I have to have a hemp license for that? If I'm selling, if the grocery store has hemp seed on the shelf, now do they have to have a separate license for that? We'll see. We'll see if they go after those companies. I have a strange feeling that they will. And I don't know, I don't know what the license is going to cost. I haven't seen any of that. Is it if it's just a nominal fee, then yeah, everybody's going to jump on board. Is it some crazy amount? Is it worth it to have it to sell hemp seeds or hemp jeans? I don't know. So you're going to have to work all that out, I suppose, in Hawaii, because I didn't see any numbers. I just saw they're going to have a license. So if you live in Hawaii, find out what that license is going to cost and get back to us. I'll see what I can find out. So a recent migraine study showed that 52% of participants that used CBD showed pain relief at 2 hours. Which, I find, there's a couple things I find interesting about that. A, they were actually checking to see they were using vapes, basically, to ingest the CBD. And this was a 11%. I don't know what that really means, CBD. I guess it just was 11% flour, and that put the oil. I don't know how they really did that, because they were also doing THC, and a combination of THC and CBD was a little bit higher for pain relief. Surprise, surprise. But the CBD alone, which was part of the study, helped 52% of the participants at least. And again, that's definitely better than none. Over 50% of the people showed beneficial results from that. And just goes to show that, again, and we're going to see more of this. I definitely think that vaping medicine, which we're already seeing. So now I've been hearing about how you can get like vitamin C to vape and all these other things to vape. And again, it's just a transition. The gummy is a transition. Burning is a transition. Putting under the tongue sublingually, that's a transition. All those things transition the cannabinoids into your bloodstream, which then takes it to the endocannabinoid receptor system in the brain, which all humans have, and then sends it out to the receptors where it's needed. It's kind of the brilliance of the whole natural process, and quite amazing, honestly. And the fact that we've been having all these humans tell us for all these years that it's unsafe, when our brains literally, that's why you cannot OD from it. You cannot overdose from cannabis, because our brain takes it in and distributes it. And if it doesn't need it, it just removes it, because it's actually stored in the fat cells. And that's why you can fail a drug test after 60 days if you have enough fat and enough THC stored in there. And then what it's doing is it's releasing that every day. And it's using that, once again, hits the bloodstream and then uses it to do whatever, or just gets rid of it. But it's another reason why they finally started calling it habit forming instead of addictive, because it's physically not addictive, because your body weans itself off of it. All right? If you look at most of the substances that are addictive, they're actually out of your blood system pretty quickly. That's why your brain needs them. All of a sudden your brain's like, I got to get some more of that. It's gone. But with cannabis, the cannabinoids, CBD, CBG, THC, CBN, all of those. All right, they're all fat soluble. They all store in our fat and then get released into the blood system slowly. Basically what they call a half-life, so half of it every day. So if your levels are super high, it takes a long time for it to get out of your system. But it's still giving you those beneficial results, maybe not as strongly, but they're still there. I've reported on this before, and this is a different study though, but CBD reduced alcohol intake and withdrawal symptoms, lowered relapse-like behaviors, and normalized neural excitability in the basolateral amygdala. I know I was going to mess that up. Now, to be clear, these were tests done on mice, not humans. And that's what's next. And we're seeing a lot of these animal medical studies, right, wrong, or indifferent. I know, I don't know. Although these mice may have been harmed in the long run because they may have actually studied their brains not alive. I'm not positive. I don't like that idea. I think that if you're, I feel like it cannot be long-term harmful to the mouse to give it cannabinoids or cannabis in any form. But anyway, these were done on mice. Also prevented alcohol-induced neurodegeneration in the striatal regions associated with reward and habit formation. And then what was interesting about this is they said that the study showed that the CBD did not potentiate alcohol's sedative effects. One of the big things, and again, I think that depending on where you hear what from, a lot of people are afraid that CBD will make them too tired during the day. I think it's a legitimate concern with our customers that don't know anything about it. That's not how it works. It's not like, now, am I saying if you took 500 milligrams of CBD, would you fall asleep and not be able to not fall asleep? I don't know about that. I'm not going to test it, to be honest with you. You're going to want to go to sleep. But small amounts, and when I say small amounts, 20, 30 milligrams of CBD, a lot of times actually adds clarity. In the day, the smaller dose helps a lot of our customers with the anxiety, or the pain relief. But it doesn't make them tired. And I think that the one reason that people associate that is because they hear how good it is, and a lot of our customers use it for this, how good it is as a sleep aid. All right? It doesn't put you to sleep. What it does is it allows you to get longer, better sleep. And the studies have proven this. I mean, not only will our customers attest that it gives them longer, better sleep, or maybe even shorter, better sleep, because they get the sleep that they really need in a shorter amount of time. And again, what it is it's just acting on the same principles of the people that use it for anti-anxiety, our customers that use it for anxiety, and our customers that use it for brain relief, for that matter. I mean, if you take all that away, it just calms the body. And again, you don't feel that. You never feel that physically. You don't ever feel a buzz of the calm. The body is just calm. And that's every part of it. So that's what causes the better sleep. It's not that it puts you to sleep and then you get better sleep. Again, it's a sleep aid. It helps you get better sleep. It doesn't make you sleep. So, and again, once again, this is just proving that it's not a sedative. It does not act as a sedative. Here's interesting. Now, we just, probably about a year ago, if you watch the show, the FDA approved hemp seed for egg-laying livestock. So what that means is you can feed your chickens hemp seed and then sell those eggs to the public. You cannot feed any other livestock hemp seed and then sell that product to the public, other than the egg laying. Now, what's interesting is now we have a study that shows that a diet of 30% hemp, 0.3% black pepper, spice it up a little, and 3% turmeric. And of course, turmeric is like it's the one of the big ones everybody's talking about. That magnesium is one of those things that a lot of people are talking about. It's important to our diet. Apparently, it's important to chickens too. But by doing that, it gave them optimal results in terms of fatty acid profile, cholesterol, which is they were really trying to see, because cholesterol is one of the most important arguments against eggs, I should say. And tocopherol levels, and I don't know where that is and what that means, but obviously that's important to a healthier egg or not. But again, it gave the optimal results in all of these things. And so we knew, we had our suspicions. This did not even show a protein. Like I don't know why they would have done this study to see what the difference in protein possibly would be. I don't know how that even would transpire, but I would love to see if that increased the amount of protein. Logically speaking, I would think that it would. Hemp is high in protein. Chickens eat the protein. Protein hopefully goes in the eggs. I don't know. We don't know. They didn't study that. I want to see that study. We do know that that it helped the fatty acid profile. It must have lowered cholesterol or helped, at least kept it the same. I don't know. And then I'm not sure what the tocopherol levels really mean, but I'm going to look into that. All right. Well, I'm going to leave you with this is pretty neat. So, Silly Nice brand in New York, NYC. I don't know what their brand is. I'm almost curious. I want to go look and see. They ship. And so, oops. I'm sorry. That's not what I wanted to show, but I will talk about that. I left that off. I'll talk about this first. This is actually a picture of a before and after of, this is a DIY project, a restoration of this table, which is really neat because it actually has like 6 legs or 8. It's got this really weird leg configuration. But anyway, the left picture is before rubbing the hemp oil on the wood. The right picture is after rubbing the hemp oil on the wood. And this is like a final stage. Sanded it down, stained it, all these things. What I find, what you can clearly see in this bottom picture is the luster, the shine that the hemp oil. I mean, I recommend if you want to really, and I've shown this before, because I believe this is a very common or semi-common restoration technique. I think it was the product was Milk Paint, I believe was the name of the brand. And again, it was just a big jug of hemp oil. So, and I truly believe any hemp oil would work. It's probably very unrefined, less refined than maybe the hemp oil that you may find for human consumption. All of it is safe. If that jug is 100% hemp oil, you could eat it as easily as you could wipe down your shine up your wood products. You can also use it, I read in the article, to make your own kind of pine sol cleaner as well. And so, I think you just add a little pine scent and what was the other ingredient? I can't think. Maybe vinegar? Maybe. I don't know. I'll see if I can't find that recipe now. I should have added that too as a recipe for homemade hemp wood cleaner, but it's obviously safe for wood. And again, the shine, the luster that it added was, really brought it out. It's quite amazing. There was another DIY hemp oil project where this lady was making flags, but she was using the hemp oil on, basically these, they look like anything from chair legs to all these spindles and whatnot, wood spindles that she was making and she was reusing everything. It was, environmentally friendly and all that stuff to make these kind of fun flags. So anyway, use that in your, don't, if you're going to restore wood projects, look into using hemp oil. That's all I can say. It's yet another, add to DIY restoration for wood products. It's all natural. Again, I don't know why you would really want to use anything else once you see how well it works. Honestly, it's fun stuff. All right, so now I'll leave you with Silly Nice Brands, and they're in the cannabis. I don't know if they're hemp cannabis products or he may be a legal, marijuana distributor in New York, but. The coolest thing is he's going environmentally friendly with all his packaging, which means his boxes and his labels are made out of hemp. Now, of course, you may have seen a hemp label or so. Wait, just earlier on the show, because our tinctures, that's a hemp label, which leads me to believe that it was probably Greenfield Technology or Greenfield Paper Company. Greenfield Paper Company. That was supplying him with his boxes and his labels, because that's where I got mine from. I don't know for sure. I'm almost tempted, and I may still do it. I may call him and thank him for doing that, for being like that, and actually asking him if it is Greenfield or somewhere else, just so I know if there's another paper company out there that's doing this. But I want to say if you're looking into any hemp paper products, I say go to Greenfield Paper Company first and see if they can supply you business cards, paper, labels, possibly boxes, all that. And so, they have been around almost as long, if not as long as we have as well. We've been selling Greenfield paper products for at least 25 years, I'm guessing. At least. So check that out. And it's cool because even his glass is recycled glass. His plastic, recycled plastic. Everything's doing this great. We should all strive to be like Silly Nice Brand when it comes to their packaging, one way or another. All right, well, we just got a couple events here next week. We got the Stargazers Cannabis, 25th through the 27th. I have my times. You can see Friday, I am, 4 o'clock? Is that right? I can't, 1 p.m.
Yep.
1 p.m. on Friday, I'm going to do my hemp workshop presentation. And then Saturday, I believe it is 4 o'clock.
Yep.
I'm going to do my hemp paper presentation. And again, there is right before us, as you can see, is scheduled the Hempcrete workshop. So, if you're going to be at Stargazers, come check it out. Mine's going to be, you're just going to learn how to make hemp paper for the most part, and probably learn a lot about hemp in the process on all aspects. That's all I can say there. One way or another. September 18th through the 20th, I've just added this one. This is the Rocky Mountain Natural Building Conference. This is going to be in Bozeman, Montana. But you have heard me talk about hempwood a lot. Right now, they are, as far as I know, the only hemp wood maker in all of the country. And of course, they're located in Kentucky, which is a logical place to make hemp products. Hemp wood was voted in the state of Kentucky as the coolest product made in Kentucky last year. It beat out the Louisville Slugger baseball bats, beat out all these other things. Huge products in a history of products being made in Kentucky. The coolest thing made in Kentucky was hemp wood. These guys, again, they had to build. They're getting so big, they had to build a huge, brand new facility. I forget what the square footage was on this place, but it was massive, and I think they should be finishing up, and hopefully making some hemp wood in there now. So, anyway, this is, if you want to learn anything about hemp wood, that's the guy to learn it from right there. And again, we can easily build 3 or 4 more of these facilities, and I'm not going to be surprised in a year or two if I don't find out that these guys are now like trying to build a facility out west somewhere, because they've gotten so big and the demand for their product has gotten so high, one way or another. And then, of course, October 3rd through the 5th, you got the Hemp Building Symposium at the Lower Sioux Indian Community in Minnesota. I'm going to say it every time I talk about this one. If you want to learn how to do seed to wall with hempcrete and hemp farming and all that, these are the people to learn from. They've done it. They've grown it. They've processed it. They have a processing center there in the community, and they built homes out of it. So they've done it all. And to me, if you want to do any aspect of that, if you want to grow hemp for construction materials, then learning the whole process is the best way to do it. If you want to process hemp for construction materials, learning the whole process, seeing how the whole process works is best for your job. And honestly, if you want to build with hempcrete, learning everything, the farming to the processing to the end result, makes you better as well, more knowledgeable about that product. So, again, it's still quite a ways away, so you got plenty of time to plan. And then, as a caveat to that, you may get lucky enough to be in somewhat close proximity to the hemp field maize that has been made every year for probably the last 10 years at least. Even before it was off the controlled substance list, but after it was legalized, 2013. It's hard to say. I might have to go back and see. But the designs that they cut into these fields these days is amazing. I'll have to go back. I have shown them on the show before, but I'll have to go back and see if I can get some of the previous designs of the hemp field maize that they do every year. And of course, it makes perfect sense, because the hemp is going to be, I guarantee you, at least 8 feet tall, if not maybe even 10. So there's no way you're jumping up to see where you're at. Either way. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching this week's High Noon Hemp Show. Don't forget to come check us out in the new Flower Factory store. And that's about all I got. Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Happy temptations.
See y'all next week.